So, never trust a skinny cook, as they say. Well, I'm going to put my mushrooms back on heat just to give it a little bit of warmth in it. My filling is going to spoil if I keep it any longer.
Three-quarter of this dough you need.
3/4 of the dough. So make a big sausage and then lop off.
That's it.
I'm bad, I eat this stuff. I know it's not good for you, but that's what people say, but it's never hurt me in all my 35, 40 years of eating dough. Right, so what am I doing? I'm going to roll it out with my trusty rusty baking roll. The kind of thing that your mom smacks you with if you're not doing your homework. But if you come up with a crafty excuse to say, I'd rather be baking for you today, Mum, because it's part of my class subject learning, well, then you probably get away with it, you see. Silly attempts at humour. Well, what else can you do on gloomy days like this? And if you've no sense of humour, it's about time you get one. So, right, so we roll it out from the centre, always remember from the centre, to try and get it into either a round shape if you're making a pizza, or into a squarey, rectangular shape if you're making a pie, depending on your dish shape, you know. But all the while, what you're trying to do is you're trying to economize on the pastry. So it's not to be too thin, but also not too thick. I mean, this is at the moment is actually proving to be a considerable amount of pastry, and I'm quite happy about that because I can do anything with it, you know, come later.
Right, we've got a dish. That's it.
So I'm almost finished. I don't know, I've got a little bit more to do here because this is still quite thick. But what I think I need to do now to make some space, because we don't have luxury space here, is I'm going to dish out the base, right? And then I'm going to leave the rest for the lid, which comes next. So, what do we do?
Yeah.
Well, we take our dish. Rather than try and pick up this behemoth, you slide the dish under and you drop the blanket of pastry over the dish, and then you press out the air and you form your shape, right? Make sure you get it in all the corners. Can you see, Matt? Can you come over? So that they can see that I'm not leaving any gaps in there, because that's where the holes occur while it's baking. It tears into your pastry, it makes it soft and gloopy, which is the problem we had earlier on, and then it drops. So
Don't cut off yet the edges. Leave as it is right now.
clever, good point, because I have this habit of cutting off the edges and then fiddling around with things later on, because I'm trying to be Mr. Perfect and it doesn't work like that. So what are we going to do now? Let's add our filling. This is the exciting part.
First you shoot a little perk.
We've got to prick these. I've never done this before, but it's to let any steam out.
That's it.
But the thing is, I don't let the steam out
That's it.
the bottom. I steam it out the top.
This.
Anywho, it's horses for courses. So what are we doing now, guys? What we're doing now, kiddies, is we're going to add our delicious chunks of chicken in there. And this is a lovely winter, autumn dish. It keeps you warm, you know, while you're at home studying. It keeps you warm while you're in front of the telly at night. It makes your mum and dad really proud. And then also you can take it to school the next day as well in your lunch tin, and it's great. Absolutely delish. And you can eat it hot or cold. It doesn't matter. And trust me when I say that you take the whole lot, you know, and add it in. Don't cut bits off and leave skin out and stuff, because that's your flavour. All your flavours in the skin, and it's really good for you. In the old days when I was a kid, our doctors and our health physicians and even our teachers said to us, you know, we mustn't eat skin, it's bad for you, and cholesterol, and you're going to die. Well, here I am, I'm 43 years old, I've been eating it all my life, and I'm perfectly frank and fine. And it's delicious, guys. So don't be spooked by these idiotic ideas and theories. There's nothing wrong with it. Now, the thing with mushrooms is, and I'm glad you didn't watch me slice these because I did a horrible job. If you keep cooking them, they just shrink to nothing. So don't overcook your mushrooms, just because they're going to grill in the oven anyway. And you can put as many as you want on. I sliced up, I don't know, there must have been 5 large mushrooms, and I look how much, I don't even have enough to cover the dish. You see what I mean? So you don't want to cook them too long, and you don't want to go too sparing with the mushrooms, because you want to impart a nice flavour in there. Right, and of course I'm not going to use all this delicious stocky stew. I'm just going to use a little bit of it, and I'll use the rest for another thing later on. And you just pour it over. Yummy yum. And don't worry, it's not going to be too, well, the whole plan is that it's not to be,
No.
wet and soggy when you're finished. It's supposed to be nice and firm. So that's going to be helped along by our crazy a little experiment which I'm trying to do now with the mash. Now, I've never done this before. I've only just made it, granny style, because my gran made chicken mushroom pie for us. And this is really in her honor. I'm making this. I make this for, in remembrance of her. And she just kept it very simple. But she never used mash. I don't think you really needed to. But I'm going to give it a go. I obviously don't have enough. But that's okay. We'll just use what we've got. Scrape out what's left there. It's so delicious because I put butter in it. And it's got this lovely, soft, nutty taste as well. And so it's like a Marco Pia white mash kind of consistency. It's come out of the blender. But of course we use the cheat code, which is that red tin over there. So your mum will say to you, how dare you, don't ever use tinned super mash, instant mash. But if you're busy, you're busy, you're going to just get it done. Okay guys, that's me done there now. So next is our lid. So I'm going to pop our... I've got a mistake here. We don't have enough for our lid.
Got the lid over there.
Oh, there it is. Oh. Great. So I don't even have to put that in there. I can just plop my lid on. Boom. There we go. Voila. And now, if there's any mistakes or anything, I've got enough repair material. You see there's a hole there? Well, all you do is you just take some extra pastry, you flatten it out with a bit of flour again, and you can just stick it in.
Oh, you can do this as well.
Squash it in.
This way.
Fold it in. I was just going to make a patch, and then you water it in.
You're not watering, you just put the white part of egg.
I'm going to egg wash now. So what you do now, guys, is, and you've probably seen Gordon Ramsay do this, they take the lid and the bottom, right, and they pinch it. And you can pinch it in all sorts of different interesting shapes, if you wish. Yeah? So let's just squash it together to give it this kind of like a funny shape. There's a lot of pastry on here, and I'm going to have to slice a lot of it off, but never mind. Basically what we're doing is you're just trying to fold it over so that it seals like a lid. Right, and then I'll prick the top so that it doesn't burn, it won't form in much in the way of steam because it's already cooked, but you never really know with other dishes what it will do. Like fish pies, for example, which will have a lot more moisture than this guy would. So what I'm doing now is I'm just squashing the bottom and the top pieces to seal it in. And you could make this very decorative if you wanted to. But I'm a bit of an engineer, so I don't really know how to do that. Mainly because I don't really have any tools to do it. So that's the top done. So now I need to use my egg. And I can't find my little dish. And tell you what, if you let me go to the sink, what I'll do is I'll just get rid of the egg white.
You don't rid of the egg white. You use the egg white.
What? Oh, I have not used that. I've also just used the egg yolk or milk. You can use milk or the egg. I use the egg yolk. I think everybody just has their own theories of it. The egg yolk is what glazes the flour. I know this much, so yeah. Anyway, because the problem with egg white is when you use egg white, it acts like a glue. So you don't want to glue the top, you want to glaze it. I don't, when we're baking rusks and biscuits and things, we don't do this. I use a milk wash, milk with sugar, milk with caster sugar, and you wash, can you film here? You wash your confectionery with the milk and sugar to give you the sweetness, but it also gives you that lovely shine